expected it to take me out of my comfort zone because the little that I knew about India before the trip was that it was a poor country. He said to me, Rob, I can see you worked very hard, but bad ideas, because you're trying to ride hiking trails and forbidden areas.
Tourists not allowed there.
It's not about having fun, it's about challenging yourself, it's about experiencing the raw country as is.
Waar moet ons op pad? Ek dink ons moet dit daar kant.
Daai kant toe.
Hulle het geen respek vir mekaar. Die lorry ry jy van die pad af. Die trekker ry jy van die pad af.
Okay, so I'm Rob Reinecke. I worked in Nedbank for many years, and in 2007 I decided to buy a adventure bike. I think round about 2009 we were actually sitting right here where we're sitting now, and I was chatting to the same friend who introduced me to adventure riding, and we were talking about bucket list things. And I said to him, one of the things that I'd like to do is go to the Serengeti with an overland trip. And he sort of piped up and said, well, but why don't you do it on a bike? And I said to him, but look, Serengeti is halfway through Africa. I mean, if you go and do it on a bike, I might as well ride through Africa. And he said, well, then do it. And that's where the seed actually started to formulate. I realized, just having a normal average job, I had to save up. I had to be it from a financial perspective, and also then from leave. But I made a very specific decision at that stage, is that I'm going to do it in 2012. On the 1st of May, we will fly. And everything I did from that moment onwards, from 2009, in terms of saving up, saving leave, was working towards that one specific goal. So much so that I went to that stage my employer and I said to them, look, I'm going to take 2 months leave, I'm going to go and ride through Africa. If you're not prepared to give me the leave, I will actually resign, purely just to demonstrate the seriousness of doing it.
Robbie was on a bike tour with me in Namibia, probably 2008, somewhere there. And right at the end of that tour, we had a few drinks in a pub called the Fisherman Pub in mile 72. And he told me that he's going to do a tour through Africa. And on that day I said to him, whenever he does that, I'm in. Anyway, so I did a tour with Robbie and Doki and the not so famous Heine.
Afrika begin by Ethiopië, het hulle vir ons gesê, en dis die waarheid. Van daar af kry jy Afrika soos ons hom ken, waar daar armoede is en berge en gras en groen, die Rift Valley, al daai wonderlike ervarings wat ons kon gehad het, die mense van Afrika was vir my die ding. Oralste waar jy gegaan het, drommie mense om jou saam en hulle nooi jou in hulle kraal of in hulle huise in. En Afrika se experience was vir my regtig 'n Afrika experience.
When we arrived in Beaufort West, Docky sort of said, where to next? And I quite quickly thereafter arriving home and he had started to think about it. And at that stage, the Dakar Rally was taking place in South America. And then I thought to myself, well, I want to go and see the Dakar Rally. I then decided to take Sean and Justin, my two sons, together with Docky, who did Cairo to Cape with me, as well as Alfred Benz, who was an old varsity friend. He did the Cairo to Cape with me. And we had one new person, Base Loebscher, who also joined us.
We started in Montevideo and then just sort of went Uruguay, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, back over the Andes Mountains and then back to Uruguay. We rode in the Atacama Desert, did the most dangerous road in the world twice, and through that we sort of actually, well, personally, I've learned a lot from sort of going into a thing and sort of challenging yourself and just pushing through.
Lang dag.
Ja.
Niet 'n adventure bike nie.
Suid-Amerika was vir my beautiful, die scenery, die berge, die woestyn, die Atacama, die verskille tussen altitude, laag een dag 35 grade, die volgende dag bo in Potosi 4300, 4600 meter bo seespieël, koud. En al daai kontraste moes jy voorkyter op die bike.
It takes a lot of planning, especially the way that my dad plans it. He puts in a lot of time mapping out every single movement, that if something happens, he knows what to do. I think it was during COVID, he came to me and said, we're going to the Himalayas, are you coming with? And I just, without hesitation, said yes. I knew it was about 3 or 4 years, so I had enough time to save up. And then he had enough time to start planning. He then started just Googling bike rentals in India or the Himalayas and sort of looking at prices, and started emailing a few different businesses. And he then came across Gurmat, which is the owner of Ladakh Bike Rental. And they, I think, over the two or 3 years, sent over 300 emails to each other. It was madness just with planning. But Gurmat then actually became quite important in our planning.
So Justin, myself Gurmat Namgyal, and I'm from Ladakh, the same place. And I was born and brought up in Ladakh only. So I was working with this motorcycling rentals and tours since last like 12, 13 years. So it starts from the single bike, and it's a long backstory about, like a 10 years of like some renting, some touring, and then a lot of like adventure tours with different companies as well. So now I have like something about 40 bikes.
I said, look, Gurmat, this is what I want to do. And he came back on an email and he said to me, Rob, I can see you worked very hard, but bad ideas, because you're trying to ride hiking trails and forbidden areas. So I said, okay, wait. what do you suggest? And then he actually put out a route, and I looked at it and I said, sounds good. And he then had made recommendations. Look, these are the places where you can stay in the different towns. And what was quite funny is some of the distances that he'd put out per day was like 80 kilometers. So I go back to him and I say, look, I mean, we're South African. I've ridden through Africa, ridden through South America. 80 kilometers a day is a joke. I mean, in South Africa, you do that in half an hour. Boy, was I wrong. Because some of the trip, we had a day that you could actually only do 80 kilometers. Basically, what I would look at initially is who's going to go along. Because the individuals you choose is actually very important in terms of their knowledge and attributes that they bring to the group. And are they team players? Very important. Everybody needs to understand that this is not about you, it's about the group. Because if someone starts to focus on their preferences, it has an impact on the other people. So we consisted of 6 people. Myself, I basically organized the trip. Henk he does a lot of overland trips in his own life and business. Tian, he's a financial guy. So we gave him the job of saying, you do the finances on the trip. And Sean, being a farmer, he's a strong boertjie. So whenever we fall over, which I do regularly, he's there to pick you up. So he was the muscle man. And Justin, obviously, being into the video photography, his main focus was to try and encapsulate the whole trip on either photos and or video drone. Doki goes along, but he always rides in front because he's good with navigation. And he's an extremely unsympathetic doctor.
I'm not a planner, and I don't like to get all the detail before the trip, what's going to happen and whatever. So I really thought that this is just going to be another bike trip. We're going to jump in the mornings on the bikes, pack our stuff. We most decided we're not going to have backup or support because it actually is more of a logistical problem than anything else. So I didn't read up or whatever, I just jumped in because I know Robbie is a guy that does all the homework or whatever. I actually didn't even know where we're going.
I expected it to be rural. I expected it to be challenging in the riding aspect of it. Because again, it's summertime, but I mean, you on average 3,500 meters above sea level, so it's cold, it's snowy, it rains a lot. You don't know what the road conditions are like, so sort of all of that adds to, I want to say, some anxiousness pre-trip.
So die begin was baie vir my om die Himalayan bike te leer ken. Ons is gewoond aan bikes met krag. En die Himalayan is so 'n pap fietsie wat geen respons het nie.
I thought we would, or expected maybe that we would ride something like what we call plastic bikes here, enduro bikes. But then heard it was going to be Royal Enfields.
The first day was on tar. That was a lekker day. We got used to I mean, the Indians, I actually like the way that they drive, but you must get used to it, and it's a mindset. But once you're in that, it's actually, I think it's a perfect way. They don't get angry at each other.
Daai mense het net geen gevoel vir 'n persoon op 'n motorfiets. Soos nou, as jy in Indië is, hou vas wel. Jy moet laat loop.
Wat vir my uitgestaan het was daai eerste hoë passe wat ons oorgery het. En die naïwiteit van my dat mens besef nie eintlik hoe hoog jy is nie. Jy besef nie eintlik dat jy is nou hier besig om op plekke te gaan waar ander ouens kort asem sou raak binne sekondes en ons is hier oor met die motorfietsse al die eerste dag nie.
Like we've got the only problem.
He can't carry his own luggage.
The second day we hit the gravel and it was like day and night. It changed. These mountains that you go, you're sort of in a valley and the road runs along the side. And the mountains are just never-ending spectacular. They just disappear. And I mean, and then you suddenly realize you're now in the Himalayas. This is different. So the second day we went from, I think, 3,000, 3,500 meters to over 5,000. Our first sort of main path that we went over. So altitude sickness, you're aware of it and you know that you need to wake up.
But I can't remember why we were so tired. But I can remember that we were tired.
And then you go down and it's steep. And you sort of go up in first or second gear, that's max. But when you go down, it's back to first gear, because if you don't use first gear, you're going to pick up too much speed. And there's so much pressure on your arms with going down these sort of steep inclines. So when you get to the bottom, you're stuffed.
It was a big shock in how slow you ride. I mean, the bikes are slow, it's at altitude, the road conditions are horrible, and then you've got traffic as well. Facing the fact that even though it's maybe just 100 kilometers of riding, it's still a full day of riding, and it's a tough day of riding. It's not been an easy day. And that sort of slowly chews on your sort of mentality. You're tired and physically and mentally, and then you have to continue, because if you don't, you can't go back. It's the same time back.
Then the next day we went to the place where we got snowed in. Now we went to India because it's summer.
Daar was een ou wat ons daar in die strate gekry het wat gesê het dat hy het nog sy hele lewe lank bly in Padum en hy het nog nooit sneeu gesien daai tyd van die jaar nie.
During the night, we woke up the next morning in the hotel and it started snowing. And we went down to the foyer and they just said, nope, the roads are closed. You can't leave.
That was a first for me to wake up and hear that we snowed in. You can't go anywhere. But yeah, that was also nice to experience for the first time. And yeah, it gave us time to relax a bit, walk the streets in the snow and experience some of the local food.
So we're like, okay, but we've only booked for one night, can we stay another night? And the guy looked at me and said no. They're expecting other people to come. This was day 2, but the morale of the crew was already low, and now it's snowing and it's cold and you don't want to ride, and we don't know where to go. And Padum there's pretty much one hotel that's nice, that's where we are, and then the others were quite horrible. I was constantly negotiating with the guy in the reception, and at some point he said, okay, there's this other hotel, he would walk with me there, and it's probably my facial expression, because we got back and he said maybe we can stay there for tonight if the other group, they might also be stuck. I think it was half an hour later, he said, no, don't worry, they've cleared out one of the other rooms that was a storage room, but they can throw mattresses there and we can stay there if we have to. So I think I'm pretty convinced that my face gave the impression that I do not want to stay in the other hotel.
So we sat there for 2 days, and it was snowing and raining and snowing and raining, and it was very cold.
all we could do is sit in the foyer. Henk was door guard because he had a little speaker and we had a beer, and every time that door opens, this like freezing wind would just come through the door and he would shout at anybody that keeps it open. It was sort of the comedy of the day.
After the second day, we decided we're going to go. And the guy at the hotel said, we asked him about the road. He said, you can go. If you can't cross the mountain, you just come back. It's as simple as that. And that day we left and we made it over the mountain, but we drove in the snow basically the whole day, I think.
Dan wat jy alles aan vir die koue sê?
Alles. Ek het alles aan. My sak is leeg.
Ja, wat 'n pragtige dag van bike ry. Ek meen ons het daar foto's van waar ons daar in die sneeu in die berge staan, daai spier wit vars sneeu. Dit was net beautiful.
Jy moet daarom een keer iemand met 'n sneeubal gooi as jy so 'n sneeu loop.
It's muddy and it's wet, so it's a bit of a slip and slide scenario to a town called Padum, which is in a valley, and that's the first place where we stayed in tents. The sun is shining, so it's actually quite warm, but snow is around you, so you plonk your beer in the snow to keep cold. You're having a chill and having a chat. There also we had a very special moment where Justin, for instance, was flying the drone, and one of the local Nepalese guys was interested and came and sat with his mother or sister or whatever.
And to watch some cricket there in the village, the locals playing a cricket match. I don't think many of them would ever make the Indian cricket team, but it was quite nice to see their enthusiasm for the game.
So the next morning from Rangdum we had to go up to Cargill. I think it's in the region of about 150, 180 kilometers. What was interesting on our approach to Cargill is we started to pick up more and more presence of military roadblocks that you had to go through, and where they're quite thorough. And in Cargill, the hotel we stayed, I think that's where we had our first cappuccino on the trip. And from there, the following day, we had to go down to Srinagar, which would then again be more on tar.
Vir my die probleem as die ou wat voorry is jy het hierdie werk van die dag in kilometers wat uitgesit is. Ons moet nou by Srinagar kom. En dan ry jy ou en dan ewe skielik ry jy aan 20 kilometer, jy weet 2 ure, en dan het jy weet jy daar's nog 60 oor vir die dag. Is dit nou 'n 8 uur dag in die saal, gaan dit 'n 9 uur dag raak in die saal. Jy het gedink is 70 kilos is sommer 'n uur se ry, en nou sit jy beskielik praat ons van 9 ure se ry. So nou druk jy, want jy weet nie wat kom nie. Maar agter ry daar 'n ou wat wil stop en wil ietsie hier drink en ietsie daar eet en hier so 'n bietjie die goed deurkyk en so aan. En so daai dinamiek het begin krap op daai dag. Maar ons het dit vinnig uitgesort, en die moeilikheid vir my was maar net die verkeer daai dag. Veral toe ons dan Srinagar inry om die groep bymekaar te hou. Jy weet, dit is net 'n motorfiets in Indië is die laagste op die prioriteitslys. So karre ry, trokke ry, mense loop en jy moet dodge.
Ons is almal moeg gery toe ons daar kom. En toe ons by die houseboat kom, was dit luxury, goeie kos.
It's very serene and beautiful, but very heavily Muslim orientated, which by the way presents no problem if you got Henk on board and you want a beer, because he finds it.
Big ones, they were cold, 8% alcohol, 3 of them, very lekker, cheap drinking.
Go, less talking, more rowing.
After 10 minutes, the tips go down.
Ek moet sê, daar het ons regtig as 'n groep gebond. Seker omdat ons die eerste keer vleis geëet het in 2 weke se tyd.
People come to the boat all the time, all the vendors. There was a guy that came every day who we bought lamb kebabs from. Very nice. That was the only meat I think we ate on the trip.
Die hospitality daar was fantasties. Daar was niks as te veel moeite nie. Ons het daar lekker braaitjie geëet van skaapvleis, wat die skaapvleis was ongelooflik lekker daar. En ek dink hierso sou dit 'n below average skaap gewees het om die minste te sê.
Growing up with Karoo lamb, used to good meat. After 2 weeks of no meat, it was the best meat. You don't ask questions. It was the best meat.
We actually originally would have planned to go to Kishwar, but we decided that we would split it, and we then decided to stay over at Daksum, at Paradise Retreat.
I remember we were fueling up at the fuel station next to the hotel, and I saw the room with a broken window, and I thought, yeah, who's going to sleep there? And it ended up me and Tian got that room. And the toilet was blocked. And they have a big menu, but nothing on the menu is available.
Everything that's sort of half westernized type of food, it had quite enough of curry type of foods. So you wanted a burger or a toast or whatever, and that seemed to be quite difficult. We then decided to go down to look for another restaurant in the small little town. When we arrived at one, the guy was sitting there on the ground, and he had meat that he was preparing for his guests, and he was actually, he'd had like a hammer or something on a wooden block on the ground, and he was chopping the meat up, and Justin said, well, ek eet nie daar nie, and made a prompt U-turn.
Our diet became, at that stage we didn't know it, but it's going to be black coffee in the morning. The only guy who took sugar was Robbie, the rest of us without sugar. And then by midday, we normally did a packet of Lay's chips, either a Mirinda or a Pepsi, and a small bar 1 chocolate, but it's not like the bar 1s we have, but anyway, that was our lunch every day.
I don't think we can talk about this trip without coming back to the military presence, but at some point we came across a lot of military bases. They were like lined up one after the other.
The entire northern border of India is disputed between India, China and Pakistan. So there's no physical border. The border is pretty much where the police are.
I mean, you could feel that it's tense. There's soldiers every few kilometers. There's a soldier with a gun.
In Srinagar area, that Jammu Kashmir area, the acknowledged military presence is something like about 1 million soldiers. The locals there suspect it's probably double than that.
When we got to India or to Lee with Gurmat, the first thing we had to do is go to an embassy to get actual papers that allow us to go and tour those areas. So you get to a roadblock, and all they want is just, they want papers, they want to see is everything matching up with the motorbikes, number plates and all of that, and they check you out. At first it's actually quite intimidating because they're fully armed, but then you get to talk to them and they're actually quite nice. I mean, here and there you get a few of them that's not as friendly as you would like, but the majority of them are very inviting. If you've got your papers, and you show it to them, and on you go.
Om net 'n perspektief te stel, daar's oralste polisie gewees, daar's oralste roadblocks en oralste militêr gewees, maar daai spesifieke oggend is ons toe uit in dit reën, soos jy gesê het, en ons is net uit die hotel uit regs gedraai, boot in die kop, en daar staan toe 'n polisiekarretjie, maar daar's geen polisie nie. En ek ry verby. En toe ek net verby is, toe hoor ek hoe fluit hou en ek check toe in my spieeltjie agter my en ek sien hier spring 2 polisiemanne uit die kar uit, maar ek tog toe okay. Kom ons steek, ek is mos nou verby. As ek verby is en almal is verby, dan is ons verby. Maar toe so 'n kilometer aan, toe besef ek nee, hier gaan ek nie kan verbyry nie, want die ander ouens is gestop. En toe ons daar kom, toe is dit basies net no. Road closed, can't go, no. En die pad wat ons wou gevat het, om te draai en lang pad om te ry, was omtrent 2 dae se ry gewees. So, en al wat die ou vir my sê is net, you can't go, turn around. En ek sê vir hom, turn around where? En hy sê net, turn around. En ja, toe moes ons turn around en 'n ander plan maak. En 'n slegte dag. Ons weet nou nog nie hoekom hulle ons gestop het. Was dit omdat ons locals was of omdat die pad toe was nie? Ons neem nou maar aan die pad was toe van al die reën gewees.
You come back now. You will come back. Where from? From South Africa. South Africa? Yeah. Who are going? Tonight is Fishwar. Fishwar? Fishwar जाना है. It's a bit wet. नहीं allowed नहीं है. Weather is not clear. Weather. Yeah. Not clear. Yeah. कहाँ भाग रहे हो? South Africa. Wait. Actually, we are in this track. चला ये मन को जा सुनो. तो साइड स्टार्ट हो. Als je 5 meter verder gerijdt, wil je gefietst. Nee? Als je 5 meter verder gerijdt, wil je gefietst. Wat is het? Waar? Wat zeg je? Hier is het slecht. Heb je al met je? Assalamualaikum, Dr. Sir. Je moet rider South Africa gaan पर. Bike पे, ना tourist. Not allowed. Go back. Tourist. Not allowed. But it's just weather. Huh? Just because of the weather. So you have to wait until this. Yeah. So I say maybe. Turn back. Until when? Dus maybe weer. Try again. Turn back. When can we try again? When can we come back? I know. We wait? Huh? We wait? When can we come again? Again? After, I don't know. How long is the drive to that side? This one. This one. Not allowed here. Not allowed. Go back. Is there another road? How big? There. Tourists not allowed there.
It was more a lack of communication or a lack of English that we sort of interpreted as being rude, but he didn't know how to communicate in English, and we don't speak their language. But we ended up finding a new route and went around and eventually got to Kishwar. But that was an extremely long day, and I would say one of the more difficult days of riding. The day we did the Cliffhanger road, we started the morning in Kishtwar, and we knew it was going to be a long day, and we needed some time, so we started early in the morning, didn't have coffee. We sort of asked locals next to the road, listen, we're looking for coffee, where can we find coffee? And they said, no, there's no coffee here. And I think it's a minute later, a guy came running across the road, a youngish guy, and spoke really good English. And he's like, do you guys want coffee? And we're like, yes. And he's like, follow me. And we're like, okay, what are we, like, where are we going? He's like, no, it's just down the road here. And he ended up actually taking us to his house. And he saw us, knew we were tourists, and decided that he's going to serve us. But I think that was one of the first times that we actually really engaged with the local. It was, for me, one of the highlights of the trip is just, I mean, they've got nothing, they're poor, you can see the house is dilapidated and it's run down, but they would still serve us coffee and didn't expect anything. We didn't have to pay for it, it was sort of a gift to us. And we sat there, had a bunch of laughs. I think he smoked half of my dad's cigarettes, and off we went again.
The Cliffhanger road is basically a gravel road which is cut out of the mountain. And remember, the whole Himalayas, the construction of the ground is quite porous, gravel. So you have these multiple of landslides, as I said previously, water crossings.
I mean, we got there, I think it was about, say, 10 in the morning or so, and there's a boom. And we get to the boom and they're like, no, the road's closed. I think it was a few minutes later, a bus rocked up with a bunch of people that were very happy. The one guy could speak English really well, so he started talking to them and they said, no, again, there's a landslide, but they're busy clearing it up. It's going to take about 2 to 3 hours, so by 1 o'clock the road should be open. So we decided to wait, and it was actually quite a really good experience, because now you're just sitting in the road, there's no one else, it's just us and then this bus of people. And they were on their way to Srinagar, same place as we were, for a wedding. And this was the wedding party going up. The wedding is about a week. And they were just having fun. There was a band, and all of a sudden they just started dancing, and the music came, or the band started playing, and we just sat there at the boom waiting for the road to open.
As soon as there's a bit of rain, there's landslides, and you got to wait. And once you can go through, there's obviously always mud, which is a challenge.
Ons het gesukkel deur die modder, en van die ouens het regtig gesukkel en swaar gekry deur die modder. So ek het op 'n spot gewag vir van die ouens om op te vang, en toe kom maar 'n bakkie van voor af verby my. Hy sê vir my, hoor jy kan nie hier wag nie, en hy wys so op vir my, want hierdie is 'n landslide plek, jy weet, en dan kyk jy op en dan besef jy, hoekom is hierdie so 'n gevaarlike pad? Dis nie omdat jy gaan nie van die kraans afval nie, maar dit is al kan enige tyd iets bo op jou kop val.
Chassis, dis moertoe.
Een van die slegte dele vir my van die Indië trip was die feit dat ons nêrens te deel geraak het van die mense nie. Waar Afrika en Suid-Amerika was die mense het jy die hele tyd ingenooi en dit vir jou probeer lekker maak. In Indië het jy die hele tyd gevoel soos 'n toerist, en hulle het jou basically laat voel soos 'n toerist. Behalwe daai aand het ons actually die binnewerke van die mense daarso gesien, hoe hulle kuier, hoe hulle mekaar groet, hoe hulle respekteer, hulle elders respekteer. Ja, en daai ervaring van Cyril Botolli was vir my wonderlik.
As jy nie daar wakker geword in jou lewe en jy daar uit jou tent het geklim en dit waardeer wat jy daar gesien het nie, sal jy nooit niks in jou lewe waardeer nie. Dit was die beste experience van my lewe. Daai was die beste oggend van my lewe toe ek daar uitklim.
The following day you do what they call the mini cliffhanger, which quite frankly is no different to the previous real cliffhanger. Once again, not necessarily so taxing from a physical perspective, but from an emotional perspective. You are tired, you're riding actually, it is first, second gear, the whole day.
Ja, so daai dag as die groep ek gaan nie sê groepleier nie, as die ou wat voorry, was 'n dag bietjie van worry geweest omdat daar nie petrol was nie. Ons het nie ons tanks vol gehad op daai stadium nie, omdat daar vir ons mooi laat verstaan is dit in die Srinagar area word die petrol gesteel van die bikes af. So ons het op daai stadium nog nie petrol op ons bikes gehad ekstra nie. En toe besef ons maar jy kry nie, ons gaan nie in petrol kry langs die pad nie, en ons het toe gesoek daar in die dorp en met die vloede en die goed wat daar was, is daar net niemand op die swartmark het petrol gehad nie. So daai dag 'n moeilike dag se ry. Ek kan onthou ons het een pad op die verkeerde afdraai gevat, lank geraak om te ry. En ons moes daar baie uit die berg uit fight en optel en omdraai en so aan. Maar daai dag was die worry vir my was dat jy weet dat daar 2 of 3 fietsse was wat dit dalk nie gaan maak nie.
Ja, in Keelong, Sean said there's problems at his house with his dad that's got depression, and he said he's going back. He was adamant. And my sister passed away, and I actually thought that I won't be back for a funeral, but I then decided if I'm going to go with Sean to make it to my sister's funeral.
For me it was a bit of a, call it a sad moment to see them going, because I quite enjoyed their company as well. But in any case, the rest of us carried on and enjoyed the rest of the trip.
More for my dad than the rest of us. It took a bit of a mental toll on him, sort of that the group that started couldn't finish.
Ek meen, dit klink selfsugtig as jy sê jy doen dit vir jouself, maar jy doen dit vir jouself. Dis nie asof ek my vrou en my kinders enigstens saamgevat het nie, en ek los hulle alleen agter. Maar vir my die groot ding in die lewe is dat almal sê live your life to the fullest. Jy weet, leef elke dag asof dit jou laaste is. Almal het hierdie memes wat hulle rondstuur van die lewe is kort en make it count, maar niemand doen iets omtrent nie. Almal leef maar net hulle lewe en gaan werk toe elke dag en doen wat hulle moet doen om te survive. En as jy nie die tyd vat uit daai ratreis uit en in my geval nou die praktyk se deure toemaak of die besigheid toemaak of wat ook al jy doen wanneer jou dagtaak on hold sit en tyd vat om goed te gaan experience, plekke te gaan experience, mense te gaan experience, dan is jy maar net een van daai honderde, duisende, miljoene mense wat elke dag opgestaan het, hulle dagtaak voltooi het en weer dood gegaan het aan die einde en dit nie beleef het nie. En dit is goed wat jy beleef. Dis nie, ek meen jy kan foto's huis toe vat en vir mense wys en hulle gaan sê, "Jessie, dis nice," of "Dit was mooi," of "Daai roete was scary, daar het die kraanse af of daar waar die rotse gestort het, dit is scary, maar niemand het dit beleef soos jy dit beleef het nie. So daai foto beteken vir jou baie meer as om net te gaan sê, jessie, dit was nice. En daai groot experience is die goed wat mens maak wie jy is. Dis die memories wat jy kan onthou, dis die foto wat in jou baar hang. Dis die verskil tussen 'n ou wat regtig leef en 'n ou wat net sy dagtaak doen.
Why I do this? I think it's passion.
You know, the feeling of achievement once you've gone through all of that is quite special. It's obviously a hell of an adrenaline rush while you're in it, and while you're in it, it's sometimes you think, why am I doing this? But to get to the end of it all, I think that's why we do these things.
To go experience countries in a different way, going and experience the challenges, experience the locals. I want to say at ground level, it's not a touristy thing. You go to places that tourists usually don't go to. Stay in places that tourists don't go visit. It's not about having fun, it's about challenging yourself, it's about experiencing the raw country as is. The idea was for the entire group to have the photo at the Cargill Pass, and with the group that split, now it wasn't the entire group anymore. So even though we got the photo at the Cargill Pass, it wasn't the photo that you imagined. And then I think you sort of start asking the question is, was the goal achieved ultimately when you look back? And initially I think he might have said no, but now it's sort of, you're back and you sort of have processed all of that, and I think if you ask him now, he would say yes. The goal of going there and why he went there and why he put this trip together, I think that was achieved.
Adventure is different. It's about tackling something, challenging yourself, and actually completing it. And I think that gives one a tremendous sense of achievement, self-satisfaction, that you've actually done something that very few people do. And it makes me proud. I've done 3. We can proudly say that we've done things that a lot of people have done, and it gives you daai chutzpah.